Action Podcast! With your hosts, Chris Carson and DC Shama.
Welcome to Space Action Podcast, a division of Space Action Heroes, a webcomic you can find at spaceactionheroes.com. I'm Chris Carson.
I'm DC and Shama.
And this week, we are going to talk about the movie, a little late, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, because we both really enjoyed it, and we didn't get around to reviewing it when it actually came out.
I always want to point out that you're goddamn wrong. That's an understatement. I did not enjoy this movie. It has become a fucking religion for me.
I've only still seen it the one time. Yeah, I gotta watch it again.
Well, you fucked up.
I own it now, so I should watch it again. I just haven't yet.
It's so rewatchable.
It was really good.
Okay. But first off...
Oh, yeah. First off, we teased last week in our all over the map podcast where we didn't really talk about the movies.
I just want to make an addendum. I liked Captain Marvel a lot more than I didn't not make enough points that I wanted to eloquently.
I think
But holy shit. I and the podcast ended and I was like, I did not say anything.
No, neither did I. I think we did the podcasting equivalent of two dogs who haven't seen each other in a while. And so they're just running around peeing. We just basically did that, but in a podcast form.
Oh, Lord. What little viewership we had just fucking tanked. I tanked it when I was really high, being like, yeah, how come she punched her way through her ship right there?
And then my great climax being like, sitting with a loaded gun on your lap thinking about how Disney's destroying women's rights. Which, again, not wrong. But...
yeah, and Ben Mendelsohn is delightful.
He's delightful.
Good Lord.
Delightful. Yeah, you were going to ask me some questions about the old Egypt
So first
trip.
of all, let's recap. 13 days.
13 days plus 15 in total because of the flights.
How long is the flight?
The flight was one way from Toronto to Cairo, or one way, non-stop from Toronto to Cairo. That was 12 hours?
Yeah.
About 12 hours.
I did the Addis Ababa ones about that.
Yeah, on the way back it was 5 hours to London and then 7 hours from London to Toronto.
Now you're with a charter group, so are you on the same plane with these people the whole time?
No, we were just on the plane with a couple of the people, the ones that were from Canada. The other ones that were actually from like 20 minutes away from us.
Right. Okay.
We were on the plane with them. The four ladies who of advanced age. If any of them happen to listen to this, it would be adorable, but I really hope they don't. But yeah, so 13 days total, 15 travel total. I want to say right off the bat that landing in Cairo, it's like war-torn Iraq.
Ooh.
Like, Cairo is bad. Alexandria is bad. The farther south you go, the cities get nicer.
Right.
But it's 30 million people in Alexandria and all crammed around the Nile. And it is... there's definite signs of violence everywhere.
Right.
Like, there's blown out buildings and there's not a 10-meter stretch of sidewalk that doesn't have a hole blown out of it anywhere in the city.
Gotcha.
And so, like, the affluent, rich parts of Cairo look sort of like a city where the plant has shut down, like Flint, Michigan.
Okay.
So then the poor parts of Cairo are just like war-torn Iraq. Like, they were so bad. And so in the first...
Did you guys need, like, escorts to go around and stuff? Like, how bad is, like, the escalation there? It's not...
It actually isn't that bad when you're in it, but that's the thing. I'm a non-player character. I didn't have anything crazy happen to me. But, I mean, a month ago, they blew up a bus full of tourists.
That's right.
Before that, a train crashed at the station that we were at. Or no, actually, it was this next station over. The train station blew up the station. So there is consistent violence happening there. It's just, it's not overtly obvious.
Okay.
Except in the residual factor, like the fact that it was weird getting out of the airport. And I had a little trepidation about this trip in the first place because literally they did just blow up a bus full of tourists with an IED next to the pyramids.
Right.
So we get off the plane and we get off the plane as the sun's coming up, and we're driving to the hotel in Cairo, and it's like Baghdad right after a war. Wow. Like, it's just devastation. Like, half crumbled buildings, half built buildings.
Gotcha.
You can't really see anyone, but there's 30 million people, so you know they're somewhere. But they're all hidden, and it's like, it's almost Blade Runner like that. It's levels So you see this burnt out building, but then you realize that's like the 50th floor, and then you look over the side, and then way down there is this whole street just filled with people.
What?
You're like, oh Jesus, really? So and there's a lot of disparity between different parts of Cairo. Like there's parts we're not allowed to go to. They're too dangerous.
Right.
And then the touristy parts, even though there was the tourist market, a guy tried to bomb the tourist market like a week before we went there.
Oh, Jesus.
There's video of it online. It's fucked up. He was going to the tourist market with a giant backpack. The cops stopped him in an alleyway and he just detonated and blew up. It's insane. ISIS has been driven out of everywhere else, and there's no U.S. presence in Egypt, so they've all kind of moved in there.
Oh, Jesus.
So the new president is really starting to freak out and trying to kill them all as well, of Egypt. He's a total totalitarian. I've never seen so many checkpoints with, like, mounted machine guns in my life. Yeah.
Holy shit.
And all the cops had, like, AK-47s and automatic weapons just strapped to the back. One of the funniest things I saw was... a cop was like dangling his AK-47, was just hitting the ground as he was scrooched down, taking a photo for someone.
Oh my god. Scraping on this like a live round in the chin.
Yeah. Well, and they all sit with the guns aimed out too. So you're like, that could just misfire. Well, you're supposed to hold it in the air.
Right.
That's how you hold a firearm.
Are you guys new to this?
Yeah.
Like...
You guys have been fighting these guys a long time. But, yeah, one thing I really did want to say that I wanted to touch on, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot that I'm going to forget to mention. The road rage doesn't really exist there.
Okay.
And it had got me thinking, driving today was the longest I've driven since I've gotten back. And traffic there is insane. It's 30 million people crammed in. No one obeys lanes. Right. Everyone's speeding. There's no traffic police.
I've seen the footage. It's essentially like as fish flows. You know, like...
And honking's a language. Like, you don't honk to be angry. You honk to signify your presence so that you know when everyone's merging together. Like, honk, okay, honk, 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 and everyone's compensating for each other. So it's like a school of fish all swimming around each other. And there's no real accidents. And there's no authority constantly ticketing people for driving incorrectly.
Right.
So there's no road rage. There's not a lot of accidents. Like, all Egypt driving proved to me was that us, in our contemporary physical form as humans, are completely capable of driving much more recklessly than we currently do.
Yeah.
And I think, like, all the road rage and insanity comes from the fact that we're hunted like prey in this country on the road by cops. They have quotas to meet every month.
Right.
They have to meet a certain dollar value to bring in finances to the precincts. So they'll set traps for you. They'll park at the bottom of a hill, and then you're just coasting down the hill, and they'll pull you over.
Right.
So we all in the back of our minds, like driving here, I saw 4 cops on the way here.
Yeah. It's clear it's the end of the month. Oh my god, it's the last week of the month.
It's the end of the month. That's probably why I'll get a ticket from parking up here. That's how I actually got a ticket and contested it parking out in front of Sam's house because it was the end of the month, and the guy just needed to give me a ticket, even though I won. He shouldn't have given me the ticket in the first place.
Yeah.
But they're without that pressure of feeling like you're constantly being hunted by people who shouldn't be there.
What's the traffic light situation over in Cairo?
Traffic lights?
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You just kind of go. It's crazy. It was terrifying day one, and by the end I was like, this is how we should all be driving.
Yeah. But oh man, when I was out driving the other day, that kind of did happen at a certain point where I was like, good Lord God, the idea of just anyone who can just kind of park a car when they're 16 years old gets a G license. No. We need higher regulation. I've seen people eating salad out of Tupperware containers driving down the fucking street.
No, but that's the thing. You see that in Cairo too, but they don't. I think there is an element to it.
But I think there's something about here where, like, I don't think they have the same regimented driving programs that they do over here. Do you think there's a driving school in Cairo?
I think it's the opposite.
Or do they just fucking sit you in a car, like, go to the store and get me some shit?
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. Just go, do it.
I think it's the lack of rules and restrictions and regulations and everyone having to drive at the speed limit in their own lane and be careful and watch everything, and so when you eat the salad you're screwing that all up. I think it's the lack of that makes everyone such a good driver. So just like drive, you're like, okay, and then everyone just sort of figures it out like a school of fish.
I'm just thinking in that situation it's easier to filter out fucking salad guy here, because that asshole wouldn't survive 2 seconds in Cairo. You see what I'm saying?
Like, it's salad guy in Cairo was like eating salad with a drink, taking a shot, cutting in front of you.
No. Toronto salad guy. You drop him in the middle of Cairo traffic, he dies. He gets filtered out. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the idea of, like, I imagine with a more aggressive, like, driving environment like
Yeah.
that, you don't have to tolerate this jerk off because you're like, oh no, you can't get on the road unless you know what you're fucking doing. Here, people just start driving willy nilly.
Yeah.
They're all over the fucking road. And it's like people in Toronto specifically drive like high school students.
Oh, they're the worst.
It drives me nuts. Like when the number of times I'm at a stop sign, I have the right of way. Some asshole plows halfway through the intersection, then stops when he sees me blowing through a stop sign, and gives me a look like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did you want to go?" And I have to look at him like, "No, jerk off. You're literally perpendicular to me. I can't move forwards until you go. I don't care that you ran the stoplight." That happens to me all the
Constantly?
time here. It drives me nuts.
It almost feels like yeah, it's hard to describe. You have to plop yourself in the middle of it, but like a lack of structure creates the need to create your own structure, and everyone just sort of fell into it. And so driving is a million times more chaotic, but weirdly a million times safer.
Safer, yeah.
Like that dude, that salad eating dude does exist over there, but he's like it's completely able to do it without fucking up. You know what I mean? Like he's eating that salad in his car, but he's also that one like pinky on the wheel, just like an Indy 500 driver.
He's steering dressing with the other hand.
Yeah.
Knees on the wheel.
Yeah, but it just works, and like
Yeah.
it's just because I didn't see a lot of traffic lights or like signs, and no, I mean they got bigger fish to fry. The police there, obviously, so they don't give a fuck about traffic infringements.
Sir, that guy parked on my property. Get the fuck out of my face.
So no one's being hunted by cops. There's no strict rules that horrible people will like think is the word of God imbuing our government to make us go a fucking speed limit. That kind of shit doesn't exist, and it just works. It's weird that just, oh God, no. It's weird that it just works. It's odd that it just works. My phone just fell over. Why did that happen that time? That's a solid connection there. You got yourself a ghost in here, I think. I'm sorry. He'll leave with me, I swear.
Okay. Listen, Carson masturbated in Egypt, and we think that a spirit followed him back. Onto a artifact. So we think that
all of this has gotta go. All of this has gotta go.
Listen, no, that's not the actual story.
So okay, what could it be? What could it be? Okay.
I like the fact that I think mine's pretty good. What's wrong with mine?
I brought a pebble back from the base of the Great Pyramid, and now I think I brought a demon back with me.
You fool.
Yeah.
Weird shit's been happening in my house.
Yeah, since I got here, some weird shit's been happening.
We were literally sitting in the kitchen not but 40 minutes ago, and I'm talking to him, and in the corner of my eye, I see what looks like... It's kind of like, when a card goes by your house, and the blue beams cast the silhouette of the shadow across the walls. It looked like that, and it went across my fridge, and I was like, what the fuck was that? And then this guy goes, oh, I saw that too.
I didn't see the color, I just saw the movement.
So you saw the movement. Then he tells me, while you were outside...
I was out having a cigarette, I was smoking, looking at my phone, and this shadow went over me. And I thought it was you. I thought you'd stepped out and were standing between the light and the house, because a shadow went over me and across your van. And I was like, huh? I looked around, and there was just nothing there. It was really creepy.
And then literally seconds later, that shit happens in my kitchen. Earlier now, we were in the kitchen, and the mic fell off the stand and hit your phone.
And knocked the phone off and started recording.
Now that just literally happened again.
Without, so it wasn't the mic.
It wasn't the mic.
No.
So your science is flawed once again, sir. God damn it.
Maybe it's because I don't believe in this stuff that it's like... Well,
so it's attaching to me?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's some dog shit. That's bullshit. I am not suffering some Egyptian curse. No. I'm not Brendan Fraser.
Sorry, man. Sorry, man.
Look at this cat.
Sorry,
I hope
man.
that's a cat trying to get in.
No, that's the soul of a cat, for sure.
Son of a
Yeah.
bitch.
But, is that the noise of the chains of the mummy?
It is. No, it's a ball opener. Oh my god.
Anyways.
Feasting on my fear.
It's fine. You're
I'm
fine.
gonna fucking just put sage in my afro. Just walk around the house and have it flame like Black Bart.
Yeah, just do it. Just do it. Get a dream catcher.
Whew. Okay, anyways, where were we? Egypt?
Yeah, we're talking about Egypt. So I was talking about the driving. I don't know what else. I mean,
It's just chaos.
It's the driving's chaos. The Alexandria and Cairo were fucking like war-torn Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
And then the farther you go down, so Luxor, which was formerly Thebes, and Aswan, it gets nicer and nicer the more south you go, the farther
Okay.
you get away from the Mediterranean.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then the final city we were staying in before we went to Hurghada was Luxor, which was once Thebes, the capital of Egypt.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It was really nice. It was really clean. I mean, objectively, not even from like a North American perspective. It was like there wasn't holes blown out of the ground. When we went to Alexandria, and we walked up to where the lighthouse would have been in the distance, and it was like the harbor front.
Sure, yeah,
It was
yeah.
literally a bomb hole out of the sidewalk while we were
God.
walking up. So the violence is omnipresent. It's always like there. You're aware it exists, and you do get really glared at a lot, especially an interracial couple.
Oh, I imagine. I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you are a white dude dating an Indian.
They
chick,
got a
man.
lot of glares, but
So I'm
at least I didn't. Sam said she didn't really notice it, but I kept seeing dudes just being like, "Ugh," giving me skunk eye, and I was like,
I
"Ugh."
imagine there's not a lot of people giving her skunk looks.
Well,
You're
you-
getting them.
That's the thing. We had
Because they always look at you and they're like, a white guy.
Well, also-
you got that going.
no,
for you.
like women don't have any rights or anything over there.
Mm.
And also, it was interesting that you go to prison for 6 months for touching a woman over there, and it was like, oh, that's so progressive, man. And it's like, no, it's a property thing. You don't touch another man's property. You can go to
Jesus.
prison for that. I actually tried. We were looking for directions at one point, and I went up to a woman, was like, "Excuse me, do you know where the?" And she just wouldn't look at me, and she just wouldn't acknowledge me. I was like, "Oh, right." And so Sam had to go and talk to her.
Oh, wow.
'Cause they're not allowed to, unless they're escorted by a husband or a father.
right,
they're not
right.
allowed to talk to men. So that was pretty cool. Like, Egyptian culture's dead. It's gone, right?
Right.
It's just been invaded and taken over by
Completely pillaged.
Muslim
Yeah.
country.
It doesn't exist anymore.
No. There was a great... So, just to do it briefly...
I mean, I don't want to disparage these people listening. Like, what the fuck? Did he just seriously say that our culture is dead now? I know that there's still people, but I didn't think that it was like a practicing faith or
like Egyptian
sect
culture
anymore.
is totally dead. Like Egyptians were telling us that they're like, we've been invaded 7 times over the past 5,000 years. This most recent one, like Egyptians don't exist anymore. We're
But
just
they're
Muslim
saying
now.
we.
We're just
I
Muslim
see,
now.
I see.
We happen to be Egyptian in location, but we're
Right.
just Muslim
Right.
or Christian. This tiny percentage of Christian. They keep bombing the Christian churches there too. But so yeah, we started in Cairo, went to Alexandria, and then just went down the Nile. And on one night for 3 days, 2 nights, we took a felucca. And just Google a felucca. It's basically a floating bed. It's what they used to use in ancient Egypt. And we took a felucca down the Nile. And one morning, I couldn't really sleep on there. I have kind of a bad back, and I couldn't really sleep. And I woke up in the morning and went and was just having a cigarette on the deck of the felucca. And I heard, because they do the call to prayer, right? So you hear the loudspeaker go on, like, and it's like, hey, this is your... There's,
Just across the water?
well,
Like one of the boats
they're
is doing
everywhere, right? The government has set up these speakers to
Okay,
say call to
okay.
prayers over the entire country.
I see.
And it's like, well, invest in better fucking speakers, guys. Like, come on.
No one's upkeeping those. Are you kidding
No,
me?
but it was crazy
The
because...
drive out to them's fucking crazy.
Yeah, but we were near, I think it was Aswan we were near, and there's like 20 or 15 million people in Aswan, and it was still in the distance. And so this call to prayer came on, but then it was like, in Lord of the Rings, when they went to the football stadium and got the entire stadium to chant an orchestra to record
Yeah.
it for the movie, it was just this wave of human voices came across the Nile of just prayer. Like,
That's really cool.
and it was just overwhelming. It was insane. I was like, if there's a God, he could certainly hear that shit. Like,
Yeah.
it was an epic.
No wonder you believe in like spirituality. If like 5,000 years ago
Right.
you were sitting there hearing that across
Oh,
the night, you're like
yeah.
that sounded God's voice if I
Yeah,
ever heard it.
Just a rush of millions of voices
That's
all
really
for the call to
cool.
prayer. It was insane. It was really cool. And I guess I don't know, I'm gonna miss a lot of stories here, but I mean I've been yammering on for like 20 minutes now. But it was really great. It was really fun. On the go tours rush you too much. We spent in the first day we went to the Great Pyramid, the Sphinx, the smaller pyramid to go inside it, and the first pyramid of Djoser. And then we were rushed through. We were given like 20 minutes. Like you do a little
20
spiel.
minutes to look at
20
ancient
minutes of 20 minutes. You couldn't even kind of get into the moment. And then they would take us to a government shop that was associated with the tour, like for Egyptian fabrics or papyrus or precious stones, and leave us there for like two hours. And it's like, so
2 fucking hours and 20 minutes for everything else.
yeah. So it's like you rushed us through a lot of history so that you could take us to places to sell us shit.
Right.
And government shops.
How'd you hook up with this tour company?
It was just the best one for what we were looking for price wise, really.
Right.
But it was frustrating. It was frustrating that they kept, like, we were constantly trying to sold things. They were trying to be sold things. I was saying to you, I was bitching earlier about the human pigeons, where it's like you're bred and they're pigeons, and they will not fucking stop pecking you until you physically leave their location.
Right.
And just trying to sell you anything. Like, take a picture of me, give me $20, or they just want money for free. And they're in the tourist zone, so it's not like people on the street asking for money. These are people whose livelihoods is to go into the tourist areas. Right. And you'd think if that was your livelihood, you wouldn't be so aggressive as to turn literally everyone off from what you're doing.
Right.
But it really ruined moments, like in front of the Great Pyramid, where I was like, okay, we have 20 minutes, we have to be back at the bus. I just want to take this in. I want to sit here and imagine standing in front of Cairo, and the Sphinx is right there, and the pyramid's right there, what this would have been like 5,000, 4,000 years ago. And of course, the human pigeons come around, and they just won't let you go.
Right.
So finally, the only way to go is like, our tour bus is leaving, we need to go. And I was so annoyed. I was like, I didn't get like 5 seconds to just take this
have the moment without your phone out or talk to anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't get those moments.
No.
And it was really, really, really frustrating.
Now, what does that say about like the inundation of fucking tourism into that location where like, you see a lot of these tour groups come in, they just want to take a selfie with the fucking thing and shuffle on. They don't want to do what you want to do.
They don't want to do
so it's like, it's really like, where there's fucking, like you said, bread, that's where pigeons will be. Well, who's fucking putting all the bread down there? It's like tourism's a huge industry. Like, fucking take your selfie with the fucking pyramid.
Everyone we talked to, though, was annoyed by it. So they have to understand that they're going to make less money with that tactic.
Yeah. I imagine a lot of people buy for it. Like, again, we worked in tourism at CN Tower, dude. I remember how often you would just press people for the stupidest shit.
Oh, man.
And they would buy it. Like, so imagine if you're getting physical with them. A lot of people don't have that mental capacity you do to be like, oh, no, I don't have to give into this shit. They see some aggressively coming at them. They're like, okay, well, what do you want me to buy?
Will
like,
not leave you alone.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying, like, that's everybody.
They warned us about it. They'll put you on their camel and then not let the camel sit down until you give them money. The guy grabbed my cell phone once. Like, I'll take your picture. And I actually had to, like, wrestle it out of his hand because he would have held my phone on until I gave him money. And, like, they just wouldn't leave us the fuck alone. Like, it's something that's, like, I'm going to sound like such an asshole explaining it, but the second you actually go and deal with one of these people, you're going to completely understand what I'm talking about. Right. How it's maddening. Like, you do want to just fucking headbutt them. It's the worst.
Because it's kind of like, I get whenever you're hard up, like, but, like, whenever it's, like, this is your job. Like, you're trying to make, like, a quote-unquote job out of this, like...
But still, to know your business, you're gonna make less sales that way.
Yeah,
everyone I knew was like, everyone on our tour and other tours we're going through were also annoyed.
Right.
So it's like, if you just ask twice, you're gonna get twice the number of sales.
Right.
Because people will not feel pressured and annoyed and want you to just leave them the fuck alone.
Right.
Right. And I want to tell one last story because I know I missed a lot of shit. But the one last story is when we were in Aswan, we left the hotel to go and look. At Luxor. We went to look at Luxor Temple, and. Some guy just walked up to us and was like, hey, I'm a chef in the hotel you're staying at. I'm going to the market. You want to come with me? And we were kind of like, all right, we'll see what this is all about. And we started following him. He was just talking. But then he started talking about like how he was like pro the Muslim Brotherhood and pro like the president who's very, he's against ISIS, but pro Islamic extremism.
Okay.
And then, so we were kind of getting worried. We were like, okay, we're still in public places. He's kind of taking us off the beaten path.
We're walking with him at this point?
We're walking. Because the Luxor Temple was probably about a 15-minute walk from the hotel. But he took us off into the market area.
Okay.
So we were like, okay, we're still really public. But I just, like, we kept glancing at each other. And I was, like, mentally preparing myself for this guy to turn around and be like, okay, now you're going to give me your wallet. And so I was just preparing myself. Like, okay, what do? I got to headbutt him. I got to, like, go for the eye. Yeah. Like, what do I got to do here?
One of you has to get into a basket.
Yeah. And then push down the river. But, and then that's the thing is he took us down an alley at one point. And we were both like, okay. So we were kind of staying back away from him. And it turned out that he was just doing what our tour company was doing. He was taking us to all the same fucking government shops. He was like, oh, you should check this place out. You should check this place out. This is a spice place. And I'm like, oh, you're just a tour guide, basically. You're just doing that while shitting on tour guides. Because he kept telling us about how everything that we do is so overpriced because the tour guides get
Now,
the
what's
cut.
his angle? How does he get any money? Like, I talked to 3 today.
Because he takes us into the store, and if
they buy
we buy
some.
shit, then he gets a cut. So it turned out not to be a murderer, but it wasn't the smartest move me and Sam ever made. To just randomly go off with a dude claiming to be a waiter in the middle of a third world country. But
Claiming to be a waiter.
Yeah.
Why would a waiter?
or a cook, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Because he said he was going to the market to grab stuff for the kitchen. So I think he was probably legit, but he was trying to make a little extra on the side too. So I tipped him a couple bucks. I was like, thanks for the tour, man. You know, you didn't kill us. Here's a couple bucks. And he got us a cheap carton of cigarettes. So that was good.
That's cool. What are different cigarettes like? Good?
They are harsh as fuck. They're called, well, the ones I smoked were called Cleopatras.
Oh, nice.
And they
I like that.
I should have brought one for you. I think Sam's got a couple left over. Maybe I'll snag one. They're like little cigarellas. They're really rough. Yeah. But and then while on the tour with that dude, we went down an alleyway and a bunch of kids ran up and started like going for my pocket. And I just started snapping in their faces and be like, no. Get away. And they kind of went, oh, and they walked away. And the guy was like, no, they just were hoping you had some candy on you. And I was like, oh, but their hands were down, not up. They were down and going into my pocket.
They just...
But-
who said that? Who was the guy? The cook guy?
The cook guy was
He's like,
like,
you piece of shit.
no, he was like, they're annoying as shit.
I smacked one on the way here.
Yeah,
It's cool.
but I was like, but that's the thing. I was like, the palms weren't up, palms were down.
Man.
But
They
I
were
just
hoping you had some.
I just snapped in their faces.
Interracial couples suck. That's what I learned
The
today.
thing I didn't quite buy from that was that no one wants their country to look bad, and B, we weren't on any tourist area, so why are these kids running up to people thinking they're going to get candy? Just 2 people walking down the street. But anyway,
Maybe you know what it was? He was supposed to distract you while those kids robbed you. You caught them. He's like, oh shit, thought you had candy.
yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smack that.
He's gonna get a cut.
He's gonna beat the shit out of that little.
He's gonna beat the shit out of them. Oh, the kids are great. They always come over. They're the little. You can see them.
I said palms up, not down. You piece of shit.
The human pigeons in training are adorable, and I don't feel bad about that because they're it's like your bread and they're just picking at you until they get something.
Right.
And the kids they really pissed off our tour guides because they were like, these kids have parents that work and they use their fucking kids to get pity, to get money, so don't give them. But they're so much more aggressive. They're so much more aggressive. They come over and they'll just throw things in your hands and then follow you around wanting money.
Oh my god, there's this one place in Malawi where like there are these kids and they have all these instruments made out of like found like garbage and stuff. And it's like they make little string instruments. So if you sit on, this sounds so privileged, but if you sit on like the little patio of the bar, there's like a little drop off and they come down right here, they stay on the beach. So my sister's like, okay, these kids are gonna fucking come up, they're gonna want to perform for us. We fell for it the first time. It looked kind of cute, but like their parents are just working at the beach. They get towards them because a bunch of white people are always just like, oh, it's so cute. They're doing Who Let the Dogs Out. Sure enough, they break into Who Let the Dogs Out machine. God. And they keep playing, but like, we never agreed to the show.
That's the problem.
The kid who just walked up, he's like, hello, sir, the band is ready to play for you. And I was like, we're okay. And they started playing.
Yeah, that's what they do.
And at the end of the set, they fucking threw sand at us.
Yeah.
And ran away laughing. And it was like, but...
Because you didn't give them money?
There was no transaction here. Like, I don't understand.
Is it because they could see you weren't going to give them anything? So they
Because they asked for the money. They're like, we are done now. And we're like, cool. Yeah. Good on you. Like, but like, I get it. Listen, you got it. Like, there's you got to make a racket to, because some people like, well, totally got to get money from it. It's harder in developing nations, but it is still a racket.
It's still a racket.
There's still some dishonesty behind all of that,
For sure. And the, oh God, Davey's having an embolism.
He's seeing the goddamn Oni that or whatever you brought for the goddamn...
He's going to be all over this recording.
Dude.
Should we just let him in?
I don't think it's... Again, it's really that... Because when I was playing guitar, I don't think it's going to pick him up. I really don't.
All right, well, if you can hear a cat howling in the background, ignore him. He's not dying. He's just being a little shit.
I also want to point out that, like, 10 minutes ago, it felt like some hand pulled my sweater. I didn't say anything, so that's going on this side.
Let's see what's going to happen next. Don't worry. He'll drive me off the road on the drive home and kill me.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
So, yeah, thanks for bringing that back from Egypt.
No worries.
That's awesome.
No worries.
Let's go.
It's not what it is.
I like
If anything, you got some Toronto Ghost in here.
That is true. That I know I have. That I never told you about that, right?
Maybe the Toronto ghost is protecting you against the
in the
Anubis
kitchen. It does
motherfucker.
live in the kitchen. Yeah, no. Many people who have ever house sit for me or whatever have been at the sink usually, and you'll feel someone grab your shoulder.
Oh, that's awkward.
And then you turn around, there's no one there.
How old's this house?
1800. So it's getting up to like maybe 180. It's close to 200 years old.
That's good for you though, because I'm assuming this asshole will fight off the other asshole. They're not going to team up. He's probably some 1800s racist asshole who doesn't want an Egyptian in his house.
How dare you?
Right?
Get out of my house. I don't know what the kids I don't know why I imagine the Torontonian accents Bill the Butcher from fucking Gangs of New York. You have to get out of this house.
You got it out right now.
I will cut you.
Right now.
You Egyptian fuck. You cunt.
You went a little Pacino there too.
A little bit.
You Egyptian fuck.
Listen, don't tell my ghost how to sound.
But I think that wraps up everything I'd have to say about Egypt. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
And
recommend?
Yeah, definitely recommend, but maybe not with on the go tours. Maybe find a better tour program.
Oh, you named him.
Yeah, no, I'm a customer of theirs,
Yeah.
so I can say whatever I want.
That's true.
The guide was amazing. Midu was amazing, but the company itself clearly had an investment in mind. They didn't care about showing you the sites as much as they cared about making money off of you.
That whole 20-minute 2-hour ratio is really bullshit.
And the weirdest thing is that tips are built into the culture. So there is something to be said about having to work for a tip. Like, here's the bill, and if I get a tip, it means I went above and beyond the service.
Yes.
There, it's 100%, it's socially inappropriate to not tip. So no one gives a fuck. So you get the worst service ever, but you still have to tip 15%.
Oh, that's rough.
It's so annoying.
That
so
is rough.
people are like, they're the worst. They don't give a fuck.
Oh, that sucks.
Because they get the tip built into everything. So it's really annoying. It's like, that's a bad... I don't know if that
I love the
applies.
idea. It's just like, this isn't what I ordered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get the tip and then just walk
Basically,
off.
that's not far from what happened a lot of times with people.
Oh, Jesus.
But I don't know if that's just for the tourists. I don't know if the people every day have to deal with that. I don't know if they just kind of do that for the tourists. I don't know.
Interesting.
But, yeah, I forgot a ton of things. I'm sure anyone who listens to this who knows me or knows I went on this trip will be yelling at me about certain things I've missed. Especially Sam will probably yell at me about things I forgot to talk about.
Right.
But that was pretty in a nutshell. 30 minutes I've been yammering on about this, so I apologize, listeners.
That's fucking... I thought it was cool.
I
enjoyed a trip to Egypt.
Yeah, go to Egypt. It's amazing. And bring back your own little Anubis demon.
Yeah, good God.
Oh.
Fuck's sakes. All right, man. This has been like a long-awaited one.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to talk about for a while.
You take the lead on this one because I'm all parched from yammering.
Woo!
I knew my day would come around this time.
I know it's complicated.
Just had to clear my soul and free my mind.
You want to know what happened to you? I can teach you to be Spider-Man. I love this burger. So delicious. One of the best burgers I've ever had. You have money, right?
Okay, so when we saw Aaron the Spider-Verse, I think like a lot of people, everyone was just like, okay, it's just an animated Spider-Man movie. We just saw probably the best Spider-Man we know die.
Oh, right.
In Infinity War, not but months before. Who gives a shit? Oh, it's the guys who got fired off the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Who gives a fuck?
The trailer didn't really impress me that much. No.
Yeah, I love the style. Right off the bat, I'm like,
The
okay.
disco dots?
Yeah, I was like, it was jarring. I'm like, this is really swinging for the fences, this style. I don't know if I can do a whole movie.
A lot of times there was
this.
like 3 or 4 shadows that made me like, am I watching a 3D?
Yeah,
version?
no, I like the way they, instead of like because you're blurring visions essentially from a camera lens point of view, you're just messing with the different like the different lenses, right? So it would just be like that blurred effect. And if you squinted, it worked. It was effective like
I'm
that.
wondering if it worked. I didn't see it in 3D, so.
Me neither.
Yeah.
But what I did really love was just like, the way they would print old 60s inconsistencies. Like you would see the CMYK lines pop out in some scenes.
Right,
Basically, their whole aesthetic was like, we want to make it look like a living comic book. And I didn't know this going into it. So that opening title sequence where all of a sudden the Columbia logo starts warping, I'm like, immediately clicked. I'm like, I get it. Every illustrator is like a god of this style. So all these verses are going to collide immediately. I'm like, oh, I see where... And then the opening credit sequence, that whole Alpha Peter Parker. Chris Pine Peter Parker.
Maybe that was Tobey Maguire? Maybe?
It was definitely supposed to be Tobey Maguire.
He did the upside down kiss.
The kiss, the Spider-Man 2 car through the window.
Yeah, and the dancing.
Yeah.
Or was that him that did the dancing?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, it was originally supposed to be Toby, but
That would have been pretty great.
yeah, even Peter B. Parker, the way he talks, he's kind of mopey. By the way, my favorite. I'm sorry, Tom Holland. My favorite version of Peter Parker.
Chubby middle-aged Peter Parker.
Jewish, middle-aged, divorced.
Yeah.
But he's still like, I love you
He's got a
guys.
little
He's
pep.
all peppy.
Yeah.
He's just pure Spider-Man. That's my favorite version.
It's a good one, Peter B. Parker. Yeah, it's totally because he had like 10 lines at the end of the movie. It should have been Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
That would have been great.
Yeah, I think I think that was the original intent. But anyways, just the pure love song to Spider-Man they wrote in this movie that had been missing from the Raimi movies, even the Tom Holland version. Like, it's just like Spider-Man is pure attaboy, get back up attitude. The idea of like he's even like, this Peter B. Parker's like this fucking like schlubby version of him. The little minutia of like when they're swinging together, thwip and release, and he turns to Miles. He's like,
Double tap, thwip,
I'm
and
really
release,
proud
yeah.
of us right now. Is there anything you want to say? And you're just like, Deadpool doesn't say that. Iron Man don't say that.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's the only one who can just be like at the end, he's like, yeah, team, I love you
Yeah.
guys. Spider-Man can
middle-aged Spider-Man.
yeah, unironically say that because he's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. The end credit scene with Spider-Man 2099.
Oh, going back in time.
Yeah,
to
doing the
60s
pointing.
one.
It was just, you could tell they're like, listen, fan base, I know what you're saying. There hasn't been an accurate version of Spider-Man. We're going to do that. And also, one step further,
We'll do 2099.
we're going to give you the best version of Miles Morales you're probably
Oh,
ever gonna
Miles.
get.
Yeah. Because he was a bit of a problem in the comics because he was just Peter Parker.
Right.
But they really successfully kind of reintroduced him as his own character in this movie because that was the biggest problem with Miles in the comic was, oh, you're just Peter Parker.
But I kind of like the way he had to become, like, I love the whole mentor relationship. Like, just the most adorable scenes of this, them hanging out and starting to, like, the whole mentor relationship. And again, there's never a single negative thing. Like, right away, Peter A. Parker is like, I can train you, you're going to be just like me. Peter B. Parker reluctantly does the same thing. But, like, there's never a moment of any negativity or doubt. It's that movie is just pure, like, love. My favorite example is at the end, whenever Peter B. Parker's like, you have to prove that you are ready to do this. We all decide that, like, I'm going to stay behind because you're just not ready, Miles. And they cut outside the window, and they're all secretly hoping. They're waiting for him.
Yeah, waiting for him to actually
and to
get
actually,
over it.
Yeah, and you realize, like, that is Spider-Man. Like, he's he's rooting for you. Like, I'm like, that is so fucking cute. Little things like that you realize we're missing from all the other interpretations.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
So, I just cut out a whole section of Davey freaking out. So, if there's a little jarring...
Don't pin that on my cat. It was your Egyptian ghost.
It was maybe my Egyptian ghost. Knocked the phone down again. So, if there's a little... I think I could probably hide the cut, but if I don't, then that's why it's there. Think of how cute Egyptian gods are, though. There's going to be a little jackal guy being like, hi! It's going to be adorable.
I hope my old Torontonian Bill the Butcher ghost whoops his goddamn ass.
Yeah, he'll do it. He'll handle it.
What did you think of the film? I should ask.
I enjoyed it quite a much. I enjoyed it quite a much.
Also, you're like, quite a you're puking bile, and I'm like, oh,
Frogs and locusts.
son of a bitch!
Is this what killed all the firstborns?
Start
that
rubbing
was God.
fucking blood above my door reluctantly.
Just remember, Jehovah begins with an I. That might just come up at some point. I don't know why. No, I really enjoyed it. As a lifelong Spider-Man fan, I was hoping it sucked because I'm tired of Sony fucking up Spider-Man. And they'll fuck it up again at some point.
At some point.
But then again, at the same time, I don't really want Disney to own everything. So that aspect of it was muddled going into it because I didn't see it in theaters. I waited until it came out on home video. And just because I never got around to it. And I loved it. I really, really enjoyed it. The animation was a little headachy at times. There were moments where, if anyone I know is listening, which I doubt they are, Barry, who you know, in our message group between like Barry, Maddie, me, and Ryan, was like, did I accidentally download the 3D version? And everyone was making fun of him. And I had the exact same experience. We were like 10 minutes in. I was like, did I accidentally download a 3D version? Why are there so many levels of things?
Right.
But just from a story perspective, it was amazing. I like that they got around how tired it is to hear about Peter Parker's origin story by having 5 Peter Parker origin stories.
Yeah.
Which
And
was great.
each time they bring it up, it's the last time.
It's the last time. That's why I really hope the sequel is a standalone Miles Morales film. I do not want to see a billion more Spider-Verse people. I think it would be amazing if they had the balls to make the sequel just a Miles Morales story.
Right.
It's gonna be so lame. It's like, oh, the universe has opened up again.
Right.
And he probably won't be Lord Miller.
If anything, I would just want to see them do individual ones. Like, just do a Spider-Man noir
That'd be
on his
neat
own.
too,
Do
yeah.
Spider-Gwen on her own.
Just show their own little standalones. That would be cool. That would be like what they try to do with Justice League. But successful.
Exactly. No, I mean, I think it could really work. If you just showed up, if you walked, cut.
And we play that backwards and it's saying like, Egyptian death will find you.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
I'm waiting now because there's a mirror behind your head. I'm just waiting for where I look up and I just see the.
Are you mirror watching? That thing that when you don't look, so you can't see yourself in the mirror. You just look in the mirror and then you're supposed to see ghosts.
Yeah.
So let me know if you see anything hovering above my head.
I'm waiting to see the fucking face. I'm gonna shit my pants.
But you're gonna look. It's gonna just be staring at me. Going,
yeah. I'll wait for it. It's
open.
like you have to see from my view. It's right behind your head. I'm like, it's literally just gonna be like a hand reaching for your fucking head.
I do keep waking up with scratches on me.
Yeah.
It's really odd.
Yeah.
Because they're not cat scratches.
You done fucked up.
Yeah.
You done fucked up.
I don't fucked up.
But the other thing, imagine you walked into a movie theater and you just saw Spider-Man Noir poster and it said 2020 at the bottom. I don't need a trailer.
Yeah,
Like
it's
that.
just-
That was the trailer.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
Like,
as long as it's Lord and Miller.
Yeah. Sure.
Because we also what happened with the second Lego movie.
I couldn't touch it.
I couldn't touch it either. I literally watched the collection of clips they had for it online. It was like, oh, this is atrocious.
Yeah, it didn't
and
look
then
good.
didn't go near it.
Because they have a very distinct style that you need, that kinetic energy. That I could see why maybe that frantic kinetic energy didn't work in Solo, but it's
No.
perfect for a
For
multi
Spider-Man.
where there's this multicolored subways flying around a massive kingpin at the
Yeah.
end.
Did they explain at all where his spider came from?
Nope.
Oh, that was
I
weird.
didn't give a shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, we know that we have to go through the motions if he gets bit by a spider. But I guess the
Maybe one
implication
line
was
would've been
like
okay, though.
it was a super advanced spider from the facility that they were in.
They were
Like,
under.
They were just making spiders.
The Kingpin facility.
Yeah. Like I kind of felt like Homecoming in that sense, where I'm like, I know the drill. Like even when it bites Miles and just cuts to him and he slaps it.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Such a visual guy. Like we
Yeah.
don't need to overemphasize this for the
Well, because
thousandth time.
every time he gets bit, it's a freak out.
Yeah,
Right? So
yeah.
I love that he just
Yeah,
slapped his
little
hand.
moments like that. I'm like, you guys are. It was just a love song to the Spider fan base,
Yeah.
being like,
Definitely. And it was great because Peter Parker has been around for 60 years now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I don't know how many more Peter Parker stories there are. That's why I don't like. It would be neat if they did a Spider-Man Noir and a Spider Pig and all that. But I'm most interested in another Miles story because he is really boring in the comic books. Like I think it was it Mark Millar or no who created Miles
They put
Morales?
his name in the movie. I forget his actual name.
He was the guy who did the Ultimate Spider-Man run, which was a great run. But I read the entire Ultimate Spider-Man run, and Miles was the weakest part because he didn't have all these little character elements that
No
they gave him in
texture
the
to
movie.
him?
They had no depth to him. He literally was
Brian Bendis.
Brian Michael Bendis, yeah. Which I love that guy. And I don't want to shit on him at all. I have Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man #1 signed by him at a con.
Oh, cool.
But I remember Miles Morales. It was if you go onto YouTube and shit, you'll find all the videos of like the Miles Morales problem, and they just talk about how they literally cut, copy, and pasted Peter Parker's story onto Miles Morales.
Gotcha.
So it didn't really work in the comic, but in the movie they made him awesome.
Yeah.
Do you like this suit better, his classic suit, or do you like the spray paint suit better from the movie?
Good
I
question.
dig that suit.
I like the spray just in the context of the movie
For the character.
Yeah. I think it would like if they upgraded that in the next one. Like, would I miss the old one? Yeah, it got its moment. Like it's kind of like his year one suit.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure. Because it was a spray painted. What do you think of the Spider Cave?
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was-
dude, the best is whenever they're going. One of my favorite lines when they're going down the elevator, and Peter B. Parker's like, "I feel sorry for this guy." That line is fucking hilarious.
Spider Cave at the back of Aunt May's house.
There's so many good moments, and how profound that movie is. I want to hit all the beats because there's some like every time I watched that movie when it came out on digital download 3 times in 1 week.
Oh yeah.
3
gotta
different
watch it
people. And every single time I watched it, there was one moment where the person I was with would turn to me with tears in their eyes, and I'd be like, "This movie has no business being as profound as it
really good.
as it is."
Yeah.
The Kingpin origin story is totally relatable.
Oh, and how the multiverse version of his wife saw him doing it again.
And you're like, "That's so tragic." Like you fucked up
But
after
fuck
all that.
Kingpin. But it's so tragic.
But
fuck Kingpin.
it's so bleak. You're like,
Yeah.
holy, like that's such a horrifying way to end it. Like, you're doing the exact same thing. again.
Yeah.
You brought them back, and it happened again.
Yeah.
The other thing I love, what was it? The reveal of anything with Uncle Aaron. Like the whole. Like,
Oh yeah, because I didn't know that.
No.
I mean, I did know it, but I think I just forgot.
It's
it
in
because-
Homecoming.
Yeah,
Like,
so I did know it.
Yeah.
but I just completely pushed it to the
I
side.
totally forgot. And double down whenever fucking he dies, and you're like, of course Spider-Man's uncle has to
gotta
die.
die, yeah.
I was like, why didn't I see that coming? That movie was
Yeah.
so good at hiding the threads it was gonna pull.
That was a weird moment, though. I remember because Kingpin randomly shot him. That was odd that Kingpin shot his uncle. That seemed like they needed to progress the story in that one moment.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
That was the one stitch that I really saw.
Because he
Like, what?
is pretty immediate. He's like,
Just
there-
like,
there
kill
is-
him.
There is that chilling moment though, because he realizes it's Miles and he's whispering like, "Please, Uncle Aaron," and then he
Yeah.
pulls the mask back down over Miles's face, and you're like, the half of your brain goes, "He's gonna fucking actually
yeah,
kill this
yeah.
kid!" Like Jesus Christ. And the other moment that gets me every single fucking time I watch it is whenever after Aaron's dead. Miles' dad goes to see him, and he's bound to the chair, so he literally can't talk to his father. There's a shot where it's a dividing line, and then his dad's on the other side. And just the idea of, like, these two are trying to communicate because they both lost Aaron.
Yeah.
And they just want to talk to each other, but they literally can't.
Yeah, the block between them.
Yeah, and it's after that moment he breaks out of the chair and the cue up "What's Up, Danger," and he dives off the building. Every time I watch that movie, it's like from Peter throwing the sketchbook back through the window all the way to "What's Up, Danger." It's like this really, they crafted it so well. It's so good.
Building and building.
The movie slows right down, so the second he jumps off the building and they flip the shot, so he's not falling, he's rising up. Every
No,
time.
they know visual filmmaking.
Oh god! Every
Miller
time I
and
watch that movie, I'm like, that is like Andy Dufresne crawling out of the pipe.
Yeah.
Like that was staged so fucking well.
No, they definitely do the research when it comes to the meaning of shots.
Yeah.
I was noticing that a lot. I
Yeah.
was watching. I was like, oh, like I'm being reminded of film school again, or like, oh, they're doing the thing to separate the characters. So you have a blah 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 blah, et cetera, et cetera. You just said the flipping around where he's rising instead of falling.
Yeah.
They're masters of that. They're pretty great.
Yeah,
Those guys.
they really are. I really, after I saw that movie, I'm like, dude, I want to see their cut of Solo. I don't care how
It'll
much.
never happen.
I know, but like, if in a perfect world, like if they could just get someone to animate it,
I
you know
bet
what
you'd be
I
a
mean?
lot more colorful.
I mean, right?
Yeah.
I bet you, because like it would probably make that humor land. Maybe you need to go that
Maybe.
extra push to make it fucking work. You
Maybe.
know?
Or maybe they're not good at live action. Maybe they just can't do live action.
That's true. I like 21 Jump Street.
21 Jump Street is one of the greatest comedies of all time.
You know what I'm
22
saying?
Jump Street is one of the greatest sequels of all time.
Yeah, like that's live action.
Did
stuff.
they direct it or just write it?
I think that's their baby. That was
they
like their
write it?
whole
They
idea. They
directed it?
wanted to reboot the whole franchise.
Maybe
I
they
think.
didn't. Maybe I guess there's the wrestling with the studio to consider. Like I doubt it was anyone but Disney's idea to cast Aaron Alderreich, or whatever the fuck his name is, as Han Solo.
Right.
Because he's an up-and-coming star. They want to get him some cred. They want to get him an Oscar. They want to make money off this motherfucker. I doubt that he was a choice by the creators. So maybe everyone that was pushed on them just couldn't improv?
Sure.
Because it seems
That
a lot
would
of
add
stuff's
up.
improv.
It doesn't seem like their selection of people.
Right.
Like when you're like, you got John Mulaney to play Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're going for.
That was my
Will
favorite
Forte
moment in the whole movie.
in Clone High, like
Oh, is he in Clone High?
the whole cast of Clone High is nuts. It's Will Forte, what's her face? Now that you mention it lines up. From Mad TV, Nicole Sullivan.
How do you get Daenerys Targaryen to improv?
Yeah.
You-
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no, that reminded me, my favorite moment, it was such a stupid moment in Into the Spider-Verse, is that Spider-Ham was, for some reason, wet. And he goes to shake her hand and he's just dripping water. It's never explained.
Yeah.
He's just wet.
And like, it's because I love that the implication, because the way I read that moment is just like every now and then like, oh sorry my hands are wet, but they're coated.
Yeah, and
not like
he's kind of wet too.
Yeah, it's not like a fleck of water. It's like dripping this like
Yeah.
viscous liquid.
So how did he get his hands so wet?
So funny.
Like that moment was great.
Yeah. There's those little the textures of that movie, like the rewatchable. Like one of my favorites every time I watch it is whenever Peter's like sneak into the lab and grab a bagel. So they go through the gift shop,
yeah.
and he's like grabbing a bagel. Everything's going according to plan. So he swaps the drive with Miles, and Miles throws the bagel at a scientist, and as it boops his head, it says bagel. And it pops out from
Bagel?
Yeah. And I'm like, I love those, like how much fun you could tell they were just having with
yeah.
that movie as
How
they
long
made
was
it.
the production on that? Have they been making it for like a year, 2 years, or did they kind of, was the timeline what made it so great? They were just belting it out.
That's a good question.
I actually, here's my one hipster douchebag thing I'll say about the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Was it was not a full 24 frames a second. It was quote unquote purposely made about 18, maybe 20 frames a second, so it was a little jumpy and skippy.
Right.
Does that fall into a creative decision, or is it the why animated characters only have 3 fingers decision? Because animated characters only have 3 fingers because Walt Disney did the math and said that extra finger and that extra paint over time will cost us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
Oh, so you're saying like maybe the shakiness was just
Maybe the cutting the frames down. Fewer frames.
I'm thinking
fewer
in that
frames to render.
the climax of that movie, is it still consistent through the whole thing?
It's pretty choppy through the whole movie.
Because I'm thinking that
I got used to it after a while, but every time I'd look away and be like, "Oh right, this is really choppy."
I thought because like, towards the end, because I can definitely think in the beginning, whenever he's like going by his school, it's a little choppy. But by the end, I think it might stabilize.
The climax of it stabilizes, but I think that might be your brain getting used to it. About 20. It looked about 18, 20 frames a second. Which
I'm going to go with creative choice.
Yeah. I'm going to go
creative.
with creative choice, but also as you're making this creative choice, you are a businessman going, we are going to save hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours of render time.
Just watch. The
if
next one will just
frames.
be like GeoCity pages. It'll just be like fucking I'm going to go now.
But I mean, you got to wear both those hats, right? When you're making a movie for $100 million.
Right. It's interesting. One of the inception points of this fucking story was the Sony hacks. Remember back in 2014, they spilled a bunch of their shit, like
That's how we found out that Ghostbusters was
Uh-huh.
targeting the social movement in order to anger people to go see the movie.
So it was part of that. So it was in production for like 3 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Good for it. It was really good.
Oh, it's so fun. Yeah, it's one of my favorites. That soundtrack, I listen to it all the goddamn time.
Yeah, I haven't downloaded it. I don't know why I was so hands off of it. I think because I had I hope it fails, because Venom was so bad.
Right.
And I was like, I don't want to watch another Sony Spider-Man thing. Fuck Sony. And I think that's what kind of kept me away from it.
Yeah.
And then I was so upset when I watched it and loved it.
Right? It's just one of those ones, like I've said before and I'll say again, you don't know how ready, unprepared you are for that movie until like halfway through, like, Jesus, this is profound as fuck.
That's how I felt. I sat watching it with headphones on in the dark, and I was like, what's happening?
Yeah. No, I remember me and my 2 friends, Drew and Nathan, we came out of the theater, I think it was the one in college, and we didn't say a word because it's a long walk. And it's an old theater, so you got to come up the stairs, go out the lobby, come down out in the front. And we got to the sidewalk and finally, I think it was Drew's just like, it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. And we're like, yeah, what the fuck was that? We're like, what the hell just happened?
Didn't see that coming. I did notice a lot of Sony logos in it. Oh,
yeah, the earphones. Rewatching.
Sony's.
Also, a little thing I did not notice the first billion viewings is that whenever Miles trips on his shoelaces at the beginning, he yells out "puta." So they got a bitch into a PG.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on Espanol, which I think is nuts because I'm like, whoa, there's a lot of Spanish people in the States who must have seen this movie.
Especially going to a movie where the character is half Spanish.
Yeah, I thought that was really ballsy. I was like, interesting. Interesting choice, Sony.
Can I close out on one last Egypt thing? We're already at almost an hour. This has like reinforced some slight conspiracy thinking about the age of shit. Because I have a new timeline theory.
He's putting on his tinfoil hat, folks.
There was so much water damage done to the Sphinx and the buildings around the Sphinx. Seeing it with your own eyes, and you're like, and then knowing that geologists say that would have happened like 10,000, 12,000 years ago. So it's made me think that. So I'm going by facts we know. I'm only going to say facts we know, and you draw your own conclusions from it. Is that I think it was 15,000 years ago, around 15,000 years ago, the last ice age ended. The ice age lasted 2.6 million years. We've been in our contemporary physical form for about 200,000 years.
Okay.
So we evolved from primates to modern human in an ice age. Then an ice age ended, and we had temperate climates, rich soil for 2,000 years. And then an asteroid hit the North Pole, caused an instantaneous global flood with raining for months and months and months. That's why every culture, they found the impact crater, they found the geology lines on the rocks to prove that this happened 2,000 years after the ice age ended, and that's why every major religion has a story of a flood.
Right.
Is it insane to think in those 2,000 years of temperate, beautiful climates between the end of an ice age and an asteroid impact that we didn't build some stone shit? Like, is that crazy? Like, it's not like they didn't have airplanes and rocket fuel. We've never gotten technology based around fossil fuels before.
Right.
But is it crazy to think that modern humans, for 2,000 years of climate peace, didn't build some stone structures?
That just got washed away in the ocean?
No, I'm thinking that's the Great Pyramid, the Sphinx. Like, the pyramid of Djoser is is not that much older than the Great Pyramid, but the Great Pyramid is in 100 billion times better condition.
Okay.
So it almost seems like a global flood happened, we reduced to as minimal population, killed off almost all of us, and then over the next few thousand years, we hermit crabbed back into our old locations and just picked up the slack from there.
And just had like this weird forgotten memory. Like, how long would that flood have lasted?
Probably a couple maybe 20, 30 years or something.
Right.
So, is that crazy to think that in that 2,000 years of peace, we piled some rocks on some other rocks? And maybe that's where, maybe carved a sphinx.
You think it'd be that advanced technologically? Well, the stones that they need to haul those pyramids in.
That's the thing, they still couldn't do it today.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's any weirder to say they did it 5,000 years ago or 12,000 years ago, because they still can't do it today. So what difference would a few thousand years make, since we have literally been in our contemporary physical form for 200,000 years? And there is that weird little jump. That's the missing link that creationists always reference, because we have archaeological evidence from our tiniest little marsupial all the way up, and then there's a little gap, and then we're modern humans about 200,000 years ago. There's just a little gap right there. So we don't know what made us suddenly go and get our heads huge and stand up as straight
where
as
the
we
government is keeping out the aliens that they're keeping in Area 51. That's what this podcast is all about.
Area 51!
We're taking callers.
Make Canada great again, motherfuckers.
Whoa, I didn't sign up for that. Whoa, wait.
Okay, whoa.
Take the hat off.
This is my Ford Nation hat, and I will never take it off. I am part of the Ford Nation.
It's made of tinfoil, you silly bastard.
Oh, fuck, it's the wrong hat. Alright, anyway, some food for thought. We had 2,000 years. You didn't pile some stones and shit? Something to think about.
Next week on Space Action Podcast, we discuss the idea that perhaps Chris Carson brought a ghost back with him from a faraway land.
Not a ghost, DC. A demon. Check us out, spaceactionheroes.com. Thanks for listening, guys. We love you. We'll be back soon. Bye!
Brooklyn! Who gon' stop us now?